The City That Never Slept. A Time Walker's Tale of New York. My name is Elias Mercer. I was born in 1624, though not quite in the way you think. You see, I don't live linearly. I remember New York not as a city, but as a living organism I've walked beside for 4 centuries. It all began on the southern tip of an island, the Lenape, called Manhattan. I arrived when the Dutch had just staked their claim, calling it New Amsterdam. Back then, the skyline was a forest, not steel. Beavers outnumbered people. Peter Minuit traded goods worth 60 guilders for the land, and some say the Lenape had no idea what ownership even meant. I remember cobbled streets, the smell of tobacco, and the stubborn wind off the Atlantic. The Dutch were merchants, rough and ambitious, and the tiny town bustled with drunken sailors and fur traders. Then in 1664, it changed overnight. British warships sailed into the harbor, and without a shot, the Dutch surrendered. The Union Jack replaced the orange Dutch flag, and the name became New York, honoring the Duke of York. Time spun forward. I stood in the crowds when General George Washington led his troops into the city after the Revolutionary War. The British had just evacuated, 1783, and New York, battered and charred from fires and war, began to rebuild. I walked beside Alexander Hamilton on Wall Street when he laid the foundation for American finance. By the 1800s, the city grew hungrier. Irish immigrants fleeing famine, Germans escaping revolution, Italians chasing dreams. By 1850, ships poured into Castle Garden like veins feeding a heart. I saw the rise of Tammany Hall, corruption in tailored suits, and the 5 Points where poverty bred gangs and blood soaked the cobblestones. In 1886, I was on a barge in the harbor when Lady Liberty arrived. Green copper against a gray sky. She held her torch high as if to say, "This is the gateway, this is hope." Then came the steel. I watched the city rise skyward, the Flatiron, the Woolworth, and then the Empire State Building. The skyline became a jagged crown. During the Roaring '20s, jazz spilled out of Harlem. Speakeasies buzzed beneath Prohibition's silence. Then came the crash of '29, and with it, silence again. I remember December 7th, 1941, and the quiet determination that gripped the city. Factories turned from fashion to war. Ration books, victory gardens. Times Square blacked out for air raids. In the 1950s and 60s, I stood in Central Park during protests. I heard Martin Luther King Jr.'s voice echo off the buildings. I watched the city ache through civil rights battles, riots, assassinations. Then came the towers, the World Trade Center, twin spires of ambition. I saw them rise, and years later, I saw them fall. I stood with strangers, all of us covered in ash, as silence blanketed the city that never slept. But New York never dies. In the years since, it has mourned, rebuilt, danced, and rebelled. I've walked through Wall Street crashes, COVID lockdowns, blackout nights, and ticker tape parades. And still at night I walk the bridges. The city breathes beneath me, its pulse in subways, sirens, and late-night saxophones. From Dutch outpost to global icon, New York is not just a place. It's a spirit, fierce, flawed, eternal. And I, Elias Mercer, the city's ghost, will keep walking, as long as it keeps rising.